One, there is a situation. Don't need to write anything. Please don't write. There is a situation, and that situation is that of a dilemma. There is a role that you are playing. Role that you play. Either you have a direct interest here, or you are a almost neutral third party. A situation in which there is a dilemma, meaning some conflict which is there, and you have been asked to resolve it. When you resolve it, there are two possibilities. Either you have some direct interest, meaning you are part of this dilemma situation, or you are some almost neutral third party. For example, you are government or state, where you are expected to resolve conflict among two parties. How do you resolve this? You have to resolve this dilemma. Resolve the situation amicably. This is the most important word here, resolve the situation amicably. What is meant by the word amicably? You have to resolve the situation in such a manner that resolution does not create unhandled conflict. You will solve a situation either by being in the situation yourself or as a neutral third party. You are expected to solve this. When you solve this, you have to solve this amicably. Amicably does not mean that you have to please all the parties. It's not possible to please all the parties. If it was possible to please all the party, then there would not have been any dilemma. Amicably means that you resolve the situation in such a manner that resolution does not create an unhandled or unhandleable conflict. There will be conflict, as in these two people. हाँ जी बताओ, बोलो बोलो. That it does not create an unhandled or unhandleable conflict. You can't please everybody in a situation. When you take a decision, certainly the decision will have certain costs upon one party, certain benefits to another party. Therefore, there is always going to be somebody who feels that I have lost out. You have to make sure that the person doesn't feel that I have lost. You have to make sure that whenever you take a decision, the one party that may feel that we have lost, that party does not feel that we have lost. At least you are able to persuade that party. Persuade करना पड़ेगा आपको. All of you have been reading newspapers since last 1.5 years. At least पिछले 1.5 साल से आप सब लोग अखबार पढ़ रहे हो, और आप सब लोग पढ़ रहे हो द हिंदू और इंडियन एक्सप्रेस. बहुत ही नेगेटिव अखबार है. केवल इनके अंदर क्रिटिसिज्म ही क्रिटिसिज्म आता है. So much so that now all of you have become only critics. You are all good critics now. You are not in a position to take any decision. You are in a position to criticize any decision. You can't handle a situation right now. If somebody asks you to take a decision, you will not be able to ever take a decision. I present to you an ethical dilemma and I ask what is to be done. You look at a particular case and I ask what should be in this particular case. All what you would be thinking of while trying to move your pen is how do I ensure that I check all the boxes of criticism? How do I ensure that no one is able to criticize my answer? Why? Because in your own mind now you are a critic. If somebody tells you a solution, you are not listening to the solution. You are trying to find out. As soon as the person starts to speak, you are already trying to find out the problems in a solution. You are now a problem-oriented person, not a solution-oriented person. This is the sad reality that all of us are with after having read these newspapers for the last 2.5 years. Now we have to reverse that part. Now we have to become decision makers. Please understand, being a decision maker means that when you take a decision, you can't please everybody. When you take a decision, your decision will make, let's say, some people uncomfortable with whatever you choose. Their uncomfort might be justified, might be unjustified. Fact is, there will be some people who will be uncomfortable whenever you take a decision. You are there to take a decision, not to make people comfortable. When you take decisions, you always take decisions in the limited resources that you have. The most limited resource that you have is time. Certainly money is also a limited resource, but the most limited resource that you have is time. You have to make sure that time does not run out before you take a decision. Your decision is going to affect some people. By the time you take some perfect decision, by the time the decision would become irrelevant, by the time the quote-unquote pralay would have come and there would be no one left to save. So you have to make sure that whatever decision you take is implementable in a timely manner, is amicable, meaning is acceptable, meaning does not create an unhandleable conflict. Unhandleable conflict समझ रहे हो कि conflict create होगा, लेकिन उस conflict को handle करना है. So the most important part of answering a case study, which is taking a decision, is one, take a decision. Second, ensure that you recognize that what can be the problems with that decision. Front foot पे आके खेलना है आगे basically. Ensure that you recognize कि आपके decision में क्या issues हो सकते हैं और उन decisions को ensure that you recognize कि आपके decision में क्या problem हो सकती है, क्या issues हो सकते हैं, and then make sure that you are trying to address them in the immediate, medium or long term. Take a decision, recognize that your decision will have some issues, write down what are the possible issues with the decision, and then give some suggestion that how can those issues be addressed. If they could have been addressed immediately, तब तो आप उनको address कर ही देते. अब क्योंकि वो immediately address नहीं हो सकते हैं, इसीलिए आपको उनके लिए medium term solution देना पड़ेगा, किस तरीके से address कर सकते हैं, जो भी possible है. ऐसा नहीं करना है हमको कि कोई issue है और वो address नहीं हो रहा है, उसको हम जबरदस्ती करने में लगे हुए हैं. Possible required भी नहीं. Nobody knows what is going to happen in the future. The situation is a current situation that you have been given. You have to take decision at this moment. Please ensure that you always understand the gravity of time in your day. Time is the mutual factor. Money might be a factor. Addressing interest of different people certainly is a factor. But most important factor is time. आपका decision हमेशा timely होना चाहिए. डिसीजन लो, इसकी चिंता मत करो कि जो है बाकी लोग क्या कहेंगे. अपने आप को सोचो कि अगर किसी और डिसीजन लेता तो मैं उस डिसीजन को रिसेप्टिव होता या फिर मैं उस डिसीजन के अंदर कमियां निकाल रहा होता. टेक अ डिसीजन. दिस इज व्हाट इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट. Assuming that you people have been reading newspapers since last 1.5 or 2 years, one thing is for sure that none of you will be arriving at some unethical decision. All of you are going to take some ethical, good decisions. I'm sure that nobody is going to write in their answers that I'm going to take bribe to solve a particular issue, even though that might be the quickest way. Time wala baat hoga, but I'm sure that none of you is going to take a bribe. I'm sure that none of you is going to pursue your personal interest over your professional duties. That also is not acceptable because you are choosing to become a civil servant, a public servant. That means you are choosing to ensure that public service is your priority rather than personal benefits. So इतना तो मैं assume कर लूँगा कि आप इतना बार आपने पढ़ लिया है, इतने आप knowledgeable, rational हो चुके हो कि आप कोई गलत डिसीजन तो नहीं लोगे. आप लोग सब सही डिसीजन लोगे, इतना मैं assume कर लेता हूँ. सही में किस टाइप का डिसीजन लोगे? All of you are going to take same decision or a very similar decision. I will give you any situation. Trust me, and we'll discuss this. You will get to see this when we discuss cases also. I will give you a situation and all of you are going to arrive at almost the same answer. डिसीजन ले लोगे और लगभग सब लोग सेम डिसीजन लोगे, तो फिर एग्जाम में आंसर कैसे डिफरेंशिएट हो पाएगा? तो पहला पार्ट हमने देखा कि केस स्टडी क्या चीज होती है बेसिकली, और केस स्टडी में आपको एक डिसीजन लेना है. डिसीजन कैसा लेना है? डिसीजन ऐसा लेना है जो कि एमिकेबल डिसीजन हो, एक्सेप्टेबल हो, जो कि एक अनहैंडल्ड कॉन्फ्लिक्ट क्रिएट ना करता हो. दिस डिसीजन मेकिंग पार्ट इज डिफिकल्ट, but most of you are able to get over that difficulty. Most of you are at least able to write a decision in your case study, and most of you are able to write almost same decision as somebody else. So decision is something that is not going to separate your answer from somebody else's answer. Examiner आपका क्वेश्चन आंसर देखेगा, सबका आंसर में जो अल्टीमेटली करना है वो सब कुछ सेम होगा. तो how does the examiner separate your answer? Why do people get very different marks in case studies? This is the more important part. That is how you present your arguments, how you arrive at your decision. Whenever you look at a case, there will be an ethical dilemma. That means there will be two conflicts. There will be something in conflict there. Let's say something X versus Y. A person X, a person Y. X has some interest, Y has some interest, and these interests are colliding with each other, and therefore there becomes a dilemma. The interest of X comes from some value Y, some value 1. Interest of Y comes from some value 2. Now both these values are, as the name suggests, values. Y has a legitimate right to pursue his interest. X has a legitimate right to pursue his interest. X interest also comes from a value. Y's interest also comes from a value. Both are values, meaning both are desirable. दोनों चीजें desirable है. अगर ये desirable नहीं होती तब ये dilemma नहीं होता. What is meant by the word dilemma? Dilemma means a situation in which the two options that you have are neither unambiguously right nor unambiguously wrong. If something was unambiguously wrong, it would certainly have been rejected straight away. If something was unambiguously right, कोई कमी नहीं है तो obviously आप उसको accept कर लेते हैं. So there is no choice between something that is absolutely right and something that may be right, or something that is absolutely wrong versus something that may be wrong or may be right. उनमें तो कोई choice ही नहीं. जो completely wrong है उसको तो हमेशा reject ही करना है, जो completely right है उसको हमेशा accept ही करना है, इसमें तो कोई choice ही नहीं है. मुश्किल कब आती है? जब values दोनों desirable है. The choice is not unambiguously right, not unambiguously wrong. If you choose value 1 over value 2, that means you are sacrificing value 2. Unambiguously right नहीं है. Similarly, if you choose value 2 over value 1, that means you are sacrificing value 1. Again, unambiguously right नहीं है. Examiner is going to see that how do you choose value 1 over value 2. In most cases, as I said, your choice will be similar. All of you are going to do almost the same thing. For example, all of you will, let's say, choose value 1 over value 2. For example, value 1 is human welfare, well-being, versus value 2 is profit making. क्या profit making desirable value नहीं है? Obviously desirable value है. एक individual का right है profit कमाना. But when it comes to a choice, I'm sure all of you are going to choose human well-being as compared to profit motive. So answer तो सबका same होगा. इसमें आप लोगों को लगेगा कि conflict नहीं है. You'll all write this thing and then you are going to elaborate on this part. Human well-being के ऊपर आप लोग elaborate करोगे. Human well-being. Examiner is not going to give you marks for choosing human well-being over profit making. Examiner will give you marks on the basis of why do you choose this over this. When it comes to why, you must why value A or value 1, why value 1 is being put at a higher pedestal as compared to value 2. Examiner will assess your answer on the basis of this why. Have you given supporting arguments or not? Is your answer argumentative? Step by step manner में आपका आंसर अराइव करना चाहिए. You argue that why pursuit of value 1 is more desirable as compared to pursuit of value 2. You argue that when you don't meet value 2, when you reject value 2, the losses that arise because of not accepting value 2 versus the losses that arise when you don't accept value 1, these losses may be greater as compared to these losses. अगर आप वैल्यू 2 को रिजेक्ट करते हो तो जो लॉस होगा वर्सेस वैल्यू 1 को जो रिजेक्ट करते हो तो जो लॉस होगा, तो वैल्यू 1 के लॉसेस ज्यादा बड़े होंगे. एक ही तरीका है बस आर्गुमेंट करने का. Therefore, you are assessing that value 1 is more desirable, more preferable over value 2. When your answer is such in nature, when your answer is presenting arguments in such nature, then the examiner becomes impressed. Not merely saying that human well-being is desirable, but why is human well-being desirable over, let's say, somebody else's profit motive? This argument is what will separate your answer from other answers. Finally, you'll also have to write that if this is getting compromised, meaning there are some losses also, how can you make up for these losses? If you make a choice in favor of something, that means you are rejecting something. When you reject something, the benefits associated with this do not get realized. This को बोलते हैं opportunity cost. If you